Steep climbs are something cyclists come across on every single ride, and it's something that every cyclist should look to improve on. They may only be a few hundred meters long, but whether it's your preparation, your gearing, or your bike handling, it's certainly some area that we can definitely improve. So here's Cycling Weekly's guide to conquering those devilish little kickers. One tip that you may well see in the pro races, such as the Tour de France, and especially on climbs such as Alpe d'Huez, and its 21 hairpin bends, is something you can replicate on the corners when you're on a steep climb yourself. So as you can see with this one, the inside line is really steep, and even though on a flat road, this may be the quickest option to get around the bend, but on this road in particular, it's definitely the steepest gradient. Whereas if you can move slightly out without crossing the line into the oncoming traffic in the lane, it's a slightly lessened gradient. This means you can maintain your momentum and your speed and get to the top of that climb a hell of a lot faster. When it comes to climbing, the gearing plays a crucial part in two ways. Firstly, ensuring you've chosen the right selection of gears for the ride ahead. If you know you're going to be taking on multiple short, steep ascents, then having the correct gear ratios will be really beneficial. There are three types of setup, which typically come in the following chainring sizes. A standard setup, which is a 53 by 39 tooth chainring, a compact, which is a 50 by 34, and a semi-compact, which is a blend of the two at 52 by 36. The chances are that unless you are a pro level rider, a compact or a semi-compact setup will most likely prove beneficial to you in the long run for the types of road riding you will be doing. But a lot of this is based on personal preferences and ability. Making sure your bike is not only set for the terrain, but also your ability itself is key. You may be able to ride up a steep climb once, but if you know your ride consists of multiple ascents, then it may not prove quite as useful. Remember, there isn't a cyclist alive who complained about having an extra gear on their bike, so don't feel like you're wimping out if you go for a compact chain set or a large rear cassette. It's all well and good having the gears on your bike, but making sure you use them efficiently is another matter entirely. When you're coming up to a climb, make sure you prepare for it by changing down the gears before you reach the climb itself. Otherwise, you could be caught out when the road ramps up. If you can, try and time this gear change so you get as much speed and momentum before hitting the climb itself as well. Changing gears on the climb itself is less efficient and also puts a huge strain on your bike components. You never want to crunch through the gears on the climb itself, as this puts a massive strain on your bike and is highly inefficient of your speed and your momentum. We all have a preferred style of climbing, whether it be in the saddle or out of it, and one of the main issues this brings on steep climbs is how you distribute your weight. When standing up in the pedals, you can easily see your back wheels lose traction with the road, and therefore speed, especially if the road is wet. Whereas if you sit too far back, you may cause the front wheel to lift. Doing a wheelie up a 20% climb is never ideal at the best of times. Therefore, acknowledging what technique works best for you and practicing this is vital. It is more likely that riding in the saddle will avoid any mishaps, but working on your weight distribution for whatever method works best for you is key. We've all been there, and even though it may be a massive hit on your morale, unclipping on a steep climb doesn't have to mean the end of your climb in a sense. Even though it could be the toughest thing you do that day, but there are a few tips you can take on board to try and get started again. So clip in and just face your bike slightly against the gradient, making sure you're not going too far wide, and just try and get a bit of momentum up, and then bring your foot in. You don't have to clip in straight away. Just keep the momentum going, keep going side to side, lessen the gradient. Eventually you'll clip in, there you go, and then away you go. Those are our top 5 tips for conquering steep climbs. Let us know in the comment section below what tips you use to conquer them yourself. And if you enjoy this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the Cycling Weekly YouTube channel. Until next time, we'll see you then.